The galaxy had always underestimated humans. To most civilizations, Earth was just a small, quiet planet on the edge of the Milky Way. Its people were seen as weak, primitive, and harmless. Traders, diplomats, and explorers passed by without giving it a second thought. Galactic Council meetings often laughed at the idea that humans could ever pose a threat. They are too small, too slow, too soft, they said. Even the most powerful empires ignored humanity, thinking them insignificant. But humans had learned patience, they had learned silence. While the galaxy laughed and mocked, they built something extraordinary, hidden far from prying eyes, beyond the detection of even the most advanced scanners. Deep in the asteroid belts of the Sol system, enormous starships rested in darkness, their engines cold, their weapons silent. This fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had ever imagined. Each ship was crafted with precision, faster than light could explain, shielded with energy fields that could withstand orbital bombardments, and armed with weapons that could strike with deadly accuracy. Admiral Kayla Donovan walked along the command deck of the flagship Indomitable. She had spent her life preparing for a day no one knew would come. Around her, the crew moved in perfect harmony, silent yet confident, each knowing their role in the vast machine of war and defense. She gazed at the holographic map of the galaxy, lights blinking to mark the locations of hostile fleets, trade routes, and vulnerable colonies. Her expression was calm, but her mind burned with a quiet fire. "They think we are harmless," she murmured. "They do not see what lies beneath." Humanity had not built this fleet for conquest. They had built it for survival and justice. Centuries of wars, famines, and near-extinction events had taught them one lesson. Power alone was meaningless without courage and unity. They had watched empires rise and fall, civilizations wage endless wars over greed and pride. And yet, humans had endured. They had grown stronger because of it. Now, in the silence of the stars, they waited for the moment the galaxy could no longer ignore them. Meanwhile, in the outer systems, rumors of human capability began to circulate quietly. Traders whispered of unexplainable rescues, of colonies surviving attacks no one should have survived. These were isolated stories, easily dismissed by the mighty empires. But humans were patient. Every act of courage, every rescue, every technological leap was calculated. They wanted the galaxy to think of them as weak, to underestimate them completely. Only then would the reveal of their true power be devastating. Even among themselves, humans spoke little of glory. They spoke of duty. Captain Joran Hale, commander of one of the fleet's advanced squadrons, often reminded his crew, "We are the guardians, not the conquerors. Our strength is in our unity, our patience, and our heart. The galaxy will see our power when it is ready. Until then, we watch, we wait, and we prepare." Far from Earth, alien civilizations continued their arrogance. Council meetings dismissed the warnings of scouts and minor colonies. Traders boasted that no human technology could match theirs. Warlords laughed, confident that if humans ever became a threat, it would be centuries away. They did not know that humanity's patience was not weakness, nor that their silence was not ignorance. Humanity had watched, learned, and waited. And now the galaxy's laughter was about to end. Because behind the calm exterior of the seemingly innocent Earth, behind the peaceful governments and simple lives of humans, lay a force that had never been seen before. A fleet ready to strike, ready to protect, and ready to demand respect. The galaxy had been warned in whispers, but soon it would face a storm of humanity unlike anything it had ever imagined. Admiral Donovan turned to her crew, her voice calm but firm. "Remember this day," she said. "Not for ourselves, but for the galaxy. They think we are weak. Let us show them the truth." The stars beyond the viewport seemed to shimmer in agreement, as if the universe itself knew that the hidden fleet would soon change everything. It began with a faint distress signal from a small colony near the edge of the Orion expanse. The transmission was weak, fragmented, but the message was clear. The colony was under attack. An alien raiding force, known as the Korath, had struck without warning. Their ships swarmed through the colony's orbit, firing indiscriminately, tearing habitats apart and leaving the colonists terrified and defenseless. The Galactic Council received the call, but their response was predictably slow. Counselors argued, debated, and delayed action, citing politics, resources, and alliances. "It's not our concern," one counselor sneered, dismissing the cries of the innocent as trivial. They had done this countless times before. They had watched countless colonies burn and had done nothing, but humanity listened. Humans were not part of the council, and they had no obligation to intervene. Yet they could not ignore suffering. From the deep shadows of the Sol system, the human fleet activated. Ships slipped through space undetected, their engines silent, cloaked by advanced quantum stealth. Not a single Korath ship knew humans were approaching until it was too late. When the human fleet arrived, the devastation was clear. Fires burned. Across the planet's surface, colonies were in ruins and survivors huddled in fear. But humans did not arrive with weapons blazing. They landed quietly, deploying rescue teams, medics, and engineers. Children were carried to safety. Food and water were distributed. Defense turrets were erected in hours where there had been none. Within a day, the colony's defenses were stronger than they had ever imagined. The survivors watched in awe as humans worked tirelessly. They did not ask for payment, nor did they boast of their skills. When a young boy asked Captain Joran Hale why they had come, he smiled gently. "We don't fight for praise," he said. "We fight because it is right. Because someone must protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is what makes us human." The Korath, meanwhile, were furious. They returned, expecting an easy victory only to find their attack meaningless. Human forces intercepted them in the planet's orbit, dismantling raiders with precision strikes. The Korath's massive fleet was no match for human coordination. Not a single human life was lost, and yet every enemy ship that dared to threaten the colony was destroyed. The message was clear. Humanity was neither weak nor helpless. News of the intervention spread quickly, first to neighboring systems, then across entire regions. Yet many dismissed it as a lucky accident, an anomaly. The Galactic Council ignored reports, convinced humans were still too small to matter. But humans did not act for recognition. Every action, every rescue, every display of strategy was deliberate, part of a plan far larger than anyone could see. Admiral Kayla Donovan observed the news feeds quietly on the Indomitable. She said nothing, but her eyes burned with a quiet intensity. Humanity's power was growing and the galaxy remained blind. The Korath had learned a lesson too late, but countless others had yet to understand. Humans had patience, strategy, and endurance, the perfect combination of strength the galaxy would soon regret ignoring. Even within her crew there was a quiet pride. They knew what the galaxy could not yet see. The hidden fleet, their technology, and their determination would one day be unveiled. Until then, every mission, every intervention, every act of courage was a preparation for a reckoning. And in the oddity, silence of space, humans continued to watch. They monitored the movements of empires, trade routes, and conflicts. They noted every injustice, every act of cruelty, and every failure of the Council to act. Each report was recorded, analyzed, and stored. Every small victory, every act of compassion, and every display of strength brought them closer to the day when the galaxy would finally see them as they truly were. Humanity did not crave revenge. They did not seek power for its own sake. They sought justice, protection for the weak, and recognition of their worth. And the galaxy, still laughing, mocking, and ignoring them, would soon discover that patience had been humanity's greatest weapon. While the galaxy continued to underestimate humans, deep within the Sol system, humanity's true strength was growing. The hidden fleet was more than just a collection of ships. It was a symbol of centuries of patience, intelligence, and endurance. Every vessel had been carefully designed, not for reckless war, but for precision, speed, and strategy. Engineers had poured decades of knowledge into engines that defied the limits of light-speed travel, shields that could withstand the most powerful weaponry, and weapons that struck with unmatched accuracy. Yet technology alone was not enough. Humans trained relentlessly. Pilots spent years mastering navigation, combat maneuvers, and interstellar strategy. Scientists learned to harness energy in ways alien civilizations could not comprehend. Every crew member, from medics to engineers to commanders, knew their place within a vast, coordinated machine. They were a single organism, moving and thinking as one. It was this unity, this discipline, that made the fleet unstoppable. Admiral Kayla Donovan stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, observing simulations of potential threats. Each holographic scenario showed humans facing impossible odds and winning. She did not smile at the simulations. She felt a solemn pride, knowing that humanity's power was not just in technology, but in the minds and hearts of its people. "They think we are weak," she whispered to her second-in-command, Lieutenant Mara Solon. "They do not see what we have built or what we are capable of." Even the smallest victories had taught humans valuable lessons. Scouts had reported minor alien fleets testing human defenses. Each probe was met with calculated responses, often without revealing the fleet's full capabilities. Enemy ships vanished in unexpected strikes, their arrogance shattered, leaving them confused and terrified. These encounters were carefully measured. Humans wanted the galaxy to see glimpses, but never the full storm. The Vrylok Empire, known for its aggressive expansion, had sent a scouting fleet near human space. Their intention was simple: test the waters, see if humans posed any real threat. They were shocked when their ships disappeared without a trace. Reports reached the Council, but even they could not comprehend the scale of human power. They began to whisper among themselves. Could Earth really hide such strength? But the whispers were few, quiet, and dismissed as exaggeration. Meanwhile, humans continued to build. In secret stations hidden in asteroid belts and gas giants, new ships were completed and deployed to silent orbit. Each edition was faster, stronger, and smarter than the last. Scientists tested advanced energy systems that could create temporary wormholes, weapons that targeted multiple enemy ships simultaneously, and shields that could regenerate instantly after a strike. Humanity's fleet was evolving constantly, always preparing for the day the galaxy would be forced to notice. Captain Joran Hale addressed his squadron before a training exercise. "Our strength is not just our ships or our weapons," he said, firmly. "It is our will. We fight with heart, with intelligence, and with unity. One day, the galaxy will see us not as weak, not as small, but as a force that cannot be ignored. Until then, we prepare. We endure. We grow." Even the youngest cadets understood the importance of patience. They trained tirelessly, learning the ways of the galaxy, understanding alien tactics, and mastering human ingenuity. They were taught that strength without wisdom was dangerous, and power without purpose was meaningless. Humanity's hidden power was not a weapon to destroy, but a shield to protect, and a storm to awaken respect and fear. And so, while the galaxy continued its careless wars, humans watched and waited. Every movement, every decision, every conquest by other civilizations was observed, studied, and analyzed. They were patient because they knew the moment would come when the galaxy would no longer laugh at them. Then the full power of humanity, the hidden fleet, the strategy, and the unwavering will would be revealed. Admiral Donovan looked out at the stars from the bridge. "We are ready," she said softly. "The galaxy thinks it knows us. Soon, it will see the truth." The galaxy's arrogance was about to meet its match. The Vrylok Empire, proud and ruthless, had set its sights on the neutral star system of Orlan Prime. Known for its rich resources and strategic trade routes, the system was vital for any power that wished to dominate the region. The Vryloks did not expect resistance. They brought hundreds of ships, massive warships bristling with weapons, and fleets of fighters ready to destroy anyone in their way. But humans were watching. From the shadows of deep space, humanity's hidden fleet moved into position. cloaked, and silent. No sensors detected their presence, no signal betrayed their approach. And then, without warning, they revealed themselves. Thousands of human ships emerged from the darkness, their engines glowing, shields shimmering with energy, and weapons humming with power. The Vryloks, arrogant and confident, froze in disbelief. Admiral Kayla Donovan's voice echoed across the communication channels, calm but commanding. "This is your only warning. Withdraw your forces, abandon your conquest, and leave this system. Humanity does not seek war, but we will not allow injustice to continue." The Vrylok admiral laughed, a sound that was meant to intimidate. "Weaklings," he sneered. "You threaten us with your tiny ships? You will be crushed before you even blink." That laughter ended in an instant. Human ships moved with precision, striking the Vryloks at their weakest points. Energy beams cut through warships like knives through silk. Shields were shattered, engines were disabled, and massive vessels exploded in brilliant bursts of light. The Vryloks had overwhelming numbers, but humans had perfect coordination, strategy, and timing. Each strike was calculated, efficient, and devastating. Yet, even in victory, humans showed restraint. Civilian transports, colonies, and neutral ships were untouched. Human pilots maneuvered around them, protecting them from collateral damage. This was not blind destruction. It was precision justice, a display of power designed to send a message. "Captain," Joran Hale led a squadron into the heart of the Vrylok fleet. His voice, calm and resolute, spoke to his team. "Remember, we are not conquerors, we protect the innocent. Strike with skill, not with anger. Show them that humanity's power is unmatched, but our purpose is just." The Vryloks were stunned. Their massive fleet, which they had relied on for centuries, was crumbling before them. Panic spread quickly among their ranks. Orders were ignored, communication broke down, and fear took hold. They had never encountered an enemy like this, one that was both powerful and precise, ruthless yet disciplined, intelligent yet compassionate. By the end of the day, the Vryloks had been forced to retreat. Their surviving ships limped away, battered and demoralized. Orlan Prime was safe, its colonies unharmed, its trade routes intact. Humanity's fleet remained, a silent guardian, waiting to ensure the safety of the system. Back on the Indomitable, Admiral Donovan addressed her crew, her eyes reflecting both pride and resolve. "We did not fight for glory," she said softly. "We fought because it was right. Let the galaxy see today as a lesson. Humanity is patient, humanity is strong, and humanity will act when justice calls." Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread like wildfire. Civilizations whispered in fear, traders told stories in hushed tones, and the Galactic Council began to realize that humans were no longer to be ignored. The age of underestimating Earth had ended. Humanity had shown the galaxy its hidden power, and mercy alongside it. And so, the first reckoning began. A silent storm had awakened in the stars, and the galaxy could no longer claim ignorance. Humanity had arrived, and its message was clear. Injustice would not go unanswered, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Word of humanity's hidden fleet spread like wildfire. Across countless star systems, civilizations that had once laughed at Earth now trembled. Traders whispered in fear, military commanders trembled as they studied reports, and the Galactic Council convened in emergency sessions. Everywhere the same message repeated itself. Humans were no longer weak. Humans were unstoppable. In the council chambers, panic was visible in every gesture. Councillor Vesher, a seasoned politician, leaned forward, his hands shaking. "We underestimated them," he admitted aloud, voice barely above a whisper. They are stronger than anyone imagined, stronger than us, stronger than the Vryloks. They could destroy entire fleets in hours. Even the most warlike empires sent emissaries in desperate appeals for mercy. "We surrender," a representative from the Zalari Republic announced, trembling. We will do whatever humanity demands. Spare our people. Spare our worlds. But humanity did not strike indiscriminately. Their power was not a weapon of conquest. It was a shield for the innocent and a lesson for the arrogant. Admiral Kayla Donovan observed the responses quietly aboard the Indomitable. She had anticipated fear, but not the genuine relief that radiated from the civilizations begging for mercy. "They are learning," she said softly to Captain Joran Hale. "They are learning that power without compassion is meaningless across the galaxy." Humans acted with precision. Systems that had been prey to endless wars suddenly found protection in the fleet's presence. Colonies under threat were defended. Trade routes that had been raided for centuries became safe. Each act of mercy carried a message. Humanity was powerful, but their strength was guided by justice and heart. Some civilizations still resisted. Smaller fleets tested human responses, hoping to exploit a weakness. Each time, they failed spectacularly. Humans struck with precision, dismantling threats without unnecessary destruction. News of these victories spread quickly, reinforcing both fear and respect. Civilizations that had once considered humans insignificant now treated every transmission with caution. Every diplomatic request was measured, every alliance carefully considered. Even the Galactic Council began to change. Counselors who had dismissed Earth as unimportant now approached humans with reverence and careful words. They realized that underestimating humanity had been a grave mistake. "We must negotiate," Counselor Veshar admitted, his voice heavy with humility. "We must acknowledge their strength and wisdom. To do otherwise would invite disaster." Captain Hale watched the galaxy respond, his mind calm but alert. "They beg for mercy now," he said, almost to himself. "But one day they will understand that mercy is a choice we make, not a weakness to be exploited." Back on Orlan Prime, the colonies that had been saved sent messages of gratitude across the stars. Humans did not ask for thanks. They did not seek fame. Each act of protection was motivated by duty, by compassion, and by the understanding that strength was not measured by fear alone, but by the courage to protect those who could not defend themselves. The galaxy was alive with sound and motion. Starships hummed along their courses, trading convoys crossed systems, and alien cities glowed with uncountable lights. Every civilization had its place, every race its role, and every star a story. Yet in one quiet corner something was wrong, something that no alien sensor could ignore. Earth had fallen silent. At first, the absence was almost laughable. Human radio signals, once constant and lively, had stopped. Alien astronomers blinked at their screens, double-checking instruments. Satellites in orbit around distant colonies reported that the usual Earth broadcasts, the music, the chatter, the signals of exploration, were gone. Entire human outposts on Mars, the Moon, and orbital stations stopped transmitting. It was as if Earth had simply vanished. Admiral Lorik of the Xerian Council stared at the readings with disbelief. A deep line etched across his brow. Humans had never gone silent, even in their earliest years among the stars, even when their colonies were tiny and fragile. Humanity had made sure that someone, somewhere, always knew they were alive. "Impossible," he muttered. "This can't be right. The humans, they always respond." But the data did not lie. Every sensor, every satellite, every report from the outer systems confirmed it. Earth had gone completely dark, and it was not just Earth. The ripple was spreading. Colonies that had been connected for decades had begun losing contact. Ships sent to investigate reported empty stations, unpowered ships, and deserted cities. Even the most advanced alien civilizations could not explain it. The humans were gone, but not in a way that made sense. Rumors started to spread through the galactic networks. "Earth has been destroyed," one senator from the Arvanite League whispered in the halls of the council. "A plague?" another suggested. "No," an engineer said. "Their technology is too advanced." They could never all die at once from a disease. Fear began to mix with curiosity. The galaxy had long underestimated humanity. They had been called primitive, reckless, even fragile. But now, in their absence, the galaxy realized it had never truly understood them. On the surface of Earth, for those few who remained, there was still life. But life was subdued. Cities glimmered faintly, powered only by automated systems. The oceans reflected the fading lights of settlements, and the forests whispered to the wind. But there were no voices, no children laughing, no humans moving through streets. Something had caused humanity to step back, to vanish, and no one could guess why. Dr. Tallis, a Zorvian xenobiologist, watched the reports from orbit. His species had long considered humans unpredictable, sometimes reckless but also astonishingly resourceful. He had expected resistance, chaos, maybe even some clever human trick. But nothing could have prepared him for silence. "It feels wrong," he whispered, pressing his clawed hand to the console, as if the entire planet has held its breath. And then the alien fleets began to move. Every major civilization sent their ships to the solar system. They arrived with caution and trepidation, unsure whether they would find devastation, disease, or something far stranger. Starships filled the skies, scanning every inch of Earth, yet the planet remained quiet. It had become a shadow in the galaxy, a ghost among stars. Yet in the silence there was also a kind of beauty. The blue oceans, the green forests, the sparkling cities beneath the atmosphere, all untouched, all still. Earth seemed to be waiting, holding its secret close. And somewhere deep in the emptiness, the galaxy began to feel a new kind of fear. Not the fear of what humans could destroy, but the fear of what humans might become, and what their silence might mean for all who watched. The first part of the story ended not with chaos, but with uncertainty. The galaxy held its breath, and, for the first time, every civilization from the smallest miner to the largest empire realized that the humans they had once underestimated might still be the most dangerous, most mysterious species among the stars. The alien fleets arrived in the solar system like shadows of inevitability, stretching across the void. Ships of every shape and size hovered above Earth, scanning, probing, and recording. The sky shimmered with sensor lights, and the hum of advanced engines filled the silent emptiness. Every civilization wanted answers. The disappearance of humans was no longer a curiosity. It had become a puzzle that threatened the galaxy itself. Admiral Lorik's flagship drifted into orbit, its sensors scanning the planet below. Cities glimmered faintly, powered by residual energy grids, yet there was no movement. The once bustling megacities were eerily still. Spaceports, usually alive with departures and arrivals, stood silent and empty. Even the oceans reflected nothing but the pale blue of Earth's atmosphere. The silence was complete. Dr. Tallis, the Zorvian xenobiologist, was part of the first team sent down to the surface. He stepped into a city square expecting chaos, perhaps even signs of violence. But the streets were spotless, the buildings intact. Not a trace of struggle remained. He crouched to examine the ground, scanning for footprints, residue, or any sign of life. Nothing. The humans had simply vanished. He wandered through the city, his mind racing. Could it be a natural disaster? No signs of earthquakes or floods. Disease? Every report suggested humans were thriving before the silence. War? But no weapons debris or scorch marks could be found. It was as if an invisible hand had simply lifted humanity from its home. "I've never seen anything like this," he murmured, more to himself than anyone else. "It's impossible." Outside the cities, alien survey teams scoured forests, deserts, and oceans. The jungles were alive with animal life, the oceans teeming with fish and plankton. Nature continued untouched, thriving as if humans had never existed. And yet the cities, the carefully constructed monuments of human achievement, stood frozen in time, a testament to ingenuity and order. The more Dr. Tallis saw, the more he felt a chill crawl over him. Humans had been gone for weeks, but Earth showed no signs of panic, no chaos, no collapse. It was almost as if they had known this moment would come. Reports came in from orbiting satellites. Every human colony outside the solar system was also dark. Mars, the moon, even distant outposts around Jupiter and Saturn, silent. Fleets sent to investigate found empty stations, frozen life support systems, and ships powered down in perfect formation. The alien fleets realized something terrifying. The silence was not confined to Earth. Humanity was deliberately withdrawing, consolidating, disappearing. High-ranking officials in the alien councils argued and debated. "It must be a trap," one Vexlar admiral insisted. "Humans are never this passive. This is bait, and they will strike when we least expect it." Others disagreed, suggesting a natural phenomenon or internal crisis. But no one could offer evidence. The galaxy's top minds were stumped. Earth's disappearance defied logic, technology, and probability. Amid the tension, a quiet fear began to settle. Humanity had always been underestimated, dismissed as reckless, unprepared, or weak. Yet here was evidence of intelligence far beyond comprehension, a species that could vanish without warning, leaving no trace, and perhaps preparing for something far larger. Dr. Tallis felt a deep unease in his chest. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but perhaps more than anyone had imagined. As the investigation continued, alien ships maintained orbit around the planet. Sensors scanned every inch, satellites circled endlessly, and drones explored the farthest corners. And still Earth remained silent. But the silence itself had weight. It was a warning, a signal that humanity's absence was intentional and that the galaxy might soon discover the cost of underestimating the human race. That night, as the alien fleets held their vigil above the quiet planet, Admiral Lorik stared down at Earth, the blue marble glowing faintly beneath him. "We've underestimated them," he whispered. "And the question is, what comes next?"